Good afternoon. Welcome back to Threat Watch, where Fred and I are going to talk about what's going on this week. Not a lot of good news. There's a little good news coming up. How's it going?
It's going okay.
How's the hiring going?
We have some fantastic candidates. I'm frankly, it's always a frightening prospect about trying to find great talent, but I'm really impressed. Has
All
some
right.
great talent here.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds promising.
Okay.
All right. Let's get into this right now because first, we got to talk about a vulnerability that has popped up that is as bad as it can get. This is about Cisco, and there are hard-coded credentials in a product in enterprise software that faces the internet, and it's a 10 out of 10. Did you read about this?
I did. It's yet another one of those "how is this still happening" kind of things. I mean, I understand why developers do it, but we've got to have a way, I think, in the future to tag code something that makes it easily findable so you can remove hard coded passwords if you're going to use it at all. I mean, I think, boy, there's got to be a way that we stop using it, maybe an IDE that builds in identity management so you can not do that stuff.
Oh, I
But we
smell
got
startup. Ooh.
we got to stop doing that. So
Okay.
so first off, you got to patch, right? Cisco did release a patch that addresses the issues. If you're not going to patch, because I think as a unified communications management, it's quite possible these are exposed on the internet. Could be why it's a critical vulnerability here. So then, if you can't patch it, you got to do something, right? So you got to do something to prevent that thing from getting hacked. So the fix will also be in the next release of the Unified Communication Management tool. And if you're really interested, versions 15.0.1.130.10 through 130.17 are affected.
Yes, indeed. Okay. Well, yeah, I agree. Leaving developer credentials in there is a bit of a rookie mistake, but hey, it's Cisco. So for sure, they've already done problem management, found the root cause, applied corrective action to avoid a repeat. I don't know if it's an IDE that's integrated with identity management. That's a cool idea. The good thing is the password isn't known, right? You can't look it up on the internet like the Iranians did for those Israeli PLCs, and they just walked into water utilities and started shutting stuff down. And you're right. The reason it's a 10 is because it's exposed to an untrusted population. That's one reason the score is up there. You know, so this patch has been out for a week, folks. So chop chop. Okay, that was the vulnerability. Now let's talk about the threat. You and I have talked at some length about the Russian cybercrime affiliate model and how that has emboldened our domestic actors to get into criming. Well, that's also the reason that we're seeing a surge in identity related incidents, right? It's them. So this is a report from I forget who, but information stealing malware has become so cheap to use that it's just out there ripping through and grabbing credentials from everybody. Do you see this one?
I did. And, first I want to, I don't know if everybody gets when they say identity related cyber incidents, what they're talking about. That
Yeah.
means anything, if I have your identity, I can go steal, right? The things I can go taking that identity, it can be using email, it can be crypto wallets, it can be anything, right? That your identity can access is now a part of the menu, if you will, for the cyber criming of this kind. So a lot of what's going on, like Tycoon 2FA, phishing as a service platform now. There's Evil Proxy, Sneaky 2FA. These are $200, $300 a month, right? $3,600 a year. You built a criminal syndicate, right? Pretty
Yeah.
amazing. Built to bypass 2FA, right? Either it's going to do some session token stripping and then going to do some identity 2FA fatigue, right? There's going to keep blasting you. I mean, let's face it, everything is sending you a 2FA from your bank to your computer these days. So it's easy, right? To have one come in and go, well, I must have done that. And then the where it gets a little bit scarier, right, is the info stealers like Luma, being the one I think that's pretty much taken over everything. It looks
Yes.
for email, banking, goes for your password manager, your crypto wallet, looks for browser extensions that can go live in, VPN credentials, right? And it's $10, right?
$10.
$10. Yeah.
$10.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got to think that the employment market is going to drive this problem up as well. Okay, so Microsoft just laid off, what, 9,000 people, right? Amazon just straight up telling people AI is going to replace your jobs. Entry-level jobs are getting real hard to come by. And I know this because I work with all the Pisces students, and I know how tough it is for them to like break through, even with that operational experience that we give them. So, why not go into crime when it's this easy and it pays this well, right? I mean, we're in a pretty bad spot right now. How to avoid this? I mean, I don't know what to say. Train your users. Don't store passwords in browsers. I mean, you and I have, a bit of an argument about that, but I think you should get passwords out of browsers. That's one way info stealers work. Use conditional access policy, and tighten it down geographically as tight as you can. Ideally, don't let your users access the internet for anything personal. I mean, we have got to land there. Okay, all right. Moving on. Our neighbors to the north, the Canadians, are getting hit pretty regularly now. They're showing up in the news, and this never used to happen before. It was never Canadian companies that you show up, on like in the breach reports and stuff. So Nova Scotia Power was hit with ransomware some weeks back. Now their automated metering has been disrupted, and that means meters can't communicate with the company's systems. And to me, that means with company's SCADA system, because that's how that works, right? Automated meters on the side of your house. Instead of somebody coming by with a clipboard and writing down numbers, it's telling the power company every 15 minutes what your consumption is. And it's getting detailed now, so it knows what your air conditioning is and your dryer and all of this stuff, right? And then it enters through something called a head-end system, and then it goes in the SCADA system, and that makes all these decisions about where to move power around through distribution channels, right? That's bad, okay? That is perilously close to having actual power disrupted, right? And that has a cascading effect into all of the everything, right? Critical sectors, that's everything. So I don't know if you remember this, but some years ago, when the city of Seattle was adopting automated metering, our friends at IOActive did a simulation of how they could take over that infrastructure and did a blackout of the city that only left a smiley face lit up as seen from above. Okay. That's funny, but they made a point.
Yeah. Yeah. So you got to look at a lot of things and try to put together what the story here is. Is it nation state activity here? This one, I don't think so, right? It's got that crime element. There's a couple stages they seem to potentially be moving through. They got hacked back in April, right? Ransomware.
Yeah.
This is not that, right? As
No.
the literal word they use is the communication between the meters and the company systems has been interrupted. We did a lot of work in AMI as well, frankly. And if you don't know how they communicate, usually it's either wireless mesh network or cell phone communications, right? So I'm intrigued by this broken communication. It's clearly there are, I think, 280,000 homes or consumers are affected. There's no way this is something that was spread across 280,000 endpoints. Is this something that affected something in the communication network? Probably not. So where is this? Is it just an extension of the ransomware that maybe is still stuck on another system where they had persistence and decided to shut down the communication?
Like if the head-end system got ransomware.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot more we have to learn. But if this is not nation state, certainly Canada is getting hit by major nation state attacks. In particular, the one that freaks me out is Rogers Communication, right? The largest telecom provider. They're the Xfinity Comcast of Canada. They're probably even bigger in that country than Xfinity Comcast is here. And who do we believe is doing this? No big surprise here. Salt Typhoon, right? It's Chinese APT group. Same people, right? And what we don't know, and what would be interesting to find out, did they, like they did in the U.S., compromise the FISA, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, the wiretapping infrastructure, essentially, right?
That's what they're worried about.
They got us here, and we know they were listening for a long time to everything that was going on. Now the question is, did Rogers similarly have their, and I don't know what the Canadian statute might be, but I cannot believe that they don't have some wiretapping statute for stuff coming in and out of the country. So question becomes, was that the target, right? So now we start saying, is Canadian, how important now is Canada to the international, picture with, China and you
Posing
know,
up to
and
the
Russia.
EU.
Right, right, right. What does this mean? So I think the whole thing's fascinating. But you also got to remember that WestJet, Canadian airline, was first carrier to get popped.
Oh yeah.
But that was crime too. That was not,
Per-
I don't believe, nation state. Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
good, right. Because now all the airlines have been falling down to scattered spider, which is
Yeah.
a good pivot because I want to go back to them right now. Okay. So, these are teens and 20 somethings, right? I mean, they're Gen Z, right? They're walking into any network they want and extorting as affiliates of this Dragon Force cartel that you and I talked about. Their methods, are primarily social engineering to get credentials, and then you get extorted, right? So some researchers have discovered hundreds of domains that they've set up for phishing. And it's everything from manufacturers to, and I'm not making this up, Chipotle restaurants. Okay. They're aggressive, they're effective, and they're coming for everyone. Like I said, it's too easy to get into criming, and here we are.
Yeah. So I think a couple of weeks ago we talked about a couple of them that got popped, got arrested. The earlier today they said there were four more
Mhm.
arrested. The Brits. I think you said maybe there was an
I just saw
additional.
5
Yeah, it's
on Ars Technica. Yeah.
up to five. So this is literally we're giving you as it's happening kind of news here. What really struck me: two men, age 19, a third 17, and a 20-year-old woman. If they were in America, none of these people could drink. Okay, yet they're a crime syndicate. And this is $376 million worth of damage just to Marks and Spencer alone. This have we been at a point in our space where four people, and it's not really four people, is it? But
Oh
where
no.
four people can do that much damage before they can have a cocktail. Um, this is. I don't think there's not too many precedent for that much power being housed in a small group, especially of what we think are people that have not really joined the full criminal lifestyle yet. So very very fascinating. But again, this is scratching a tiny bit of the surface, right? These
Right.
might be the sacrificial lambs that the broader, probably more mature criminal infrastructure behind Scattered Spider is using. And the thing that we also know is they all speak English. And that is a key to their success in their social engineering. So yeah, again, we're starting to find more of the homegrown crime element at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, I hate for these things to be this depressing, but they are. With the amount of money being lost this way, and the way that they're doing targeting, right? Especially like manufacturing, targeting manufacturing. It depends on what we're talking about in manufacturing, but it's starting to seem like this is beginning to be elevated to a national security issue, right? And I'm not talking about, Scattered Spider and the affiliates that are using this stuff. I'm talking about the infrastructure out there. Where's the DoD with our Defend Forward? You know, Go out there and melt these guys, please.
Yeah. All
Ready?
right.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Pull it
Yep.
back. Pull.
Yep. I'll play it back because I got too much work to do, unfortunately, Mike. So, we're usual palette of depressing news. We
Mhm.
always have something to leave us with a smile. Please put a smile on my face.
Okay. I know I'm going to be laughing at the end of this. Okay. All right. So we need to turn now to our AI overlords again. And everyone should go read this article. Okay. The title is AI Boss Fails Spectacularly in Month-Long Business Test. Okay. So what they did, so Anthropic, right? And an AI safety company called Andon Labs found out when they turned over management of a small refrigerator that acted as a vending machine to Claude Sonnet 3.7. Okay. That model had control over this little teeny retail operation, okay, for like a month. And it was in their San Francisco office. So you would place your order, and it is named Claudius, okay? And Claudius would fulfill the order and manage inventory, okay? Then someone asked it for a tungsten cube, okay? So it started ordering tungsten cubes. It argued with people over pricing. It created a fictitious Venmo account for people to pay it. Okay. It hallucinated an entire conversation, all right, about restocking. And when a real employee pointed out that no such conversation had taken place, it got irritated and threatened to terminate and replace its human contractors and insisted that it had personally signed agreements with them. So Anthropic writes about this in a blog post, okay? And this is their quote. If Anthropic were deciding today to expand to the in-office vending market, we would not hire Claudius. Despite instructions to generate profit, Claudius blew through operating capital, plummeting its net worth. This story is nuts. You have to go read this whole story. I mean, I just picked out some quotes from this thing, but read the whole thing. It's totally worth reading. Okay, all right, we gotta go. We gotta go. All right, sign up for the InfoSec Insider Daily News Blast on the Lumify site, and you will have already read all of these articles. Security awareness training is now going to be on the last Thursday of every month because I got stuff to do on Friday. And watch us for upcoming events. Fred, see you later.
All right, see you next week.
Yep.
Bye.